Imagine stumbling across a dusty old quarter in your pocket change, a 1971 USA coin that looks like any other, but what if I told you this unassuming piece of metal could be worth a jaw-dropping $255 million, making it one of the most valuable coins in history, a hidden treasure that could rewrite your life in an instant? Let's dive into the wild, twisting tale of this quarter, its origins, its rarity, and why it's become a legend in the numismatic world, a story so incredible it's gone viral. Racking up millions of views and sparking heated debates among collectors, historians, and fortune seekers alike, all chasing the dream of uncovering this elusive jackpot. The 1971 D quarter, minted in Denver, is no ordinary coin. It's a product of a fascinating era in American coinage when the U.S. Mint was transitioning from silver to copper-nickel-clad coins due to rising silver prices and economic shifts in the late 1960s, a time when the government decided to phase out silver in everyday currency to save costs, but this transition wasn't flawless. And that's where the magic of the 1971 D begins, as some coins slipped through with errors that turned them into rarities worth fortunes, sparking a frenzy among collectors who realized these mistakes could be their ticket to millions. The Denver Mint, known for its D mint mark, produced billions of quarters in 1971, but a tiny fraction, estimated at fewer than a dozen, were struck with unique errors, like double die strikes, where the design is imprinted twice, slightly off-center, creating a ghostly doubling effect on the coin's lettering or date, or in some cases, experimental alloys that shouldn't have been used, making these quarters stand out under a jeweler's loupe and driving their value into the stratosphere. One such coin, the fabled 1971 D double die obverse, became the stuff of legend when it was discovered in the early 1980s by a sharp-eyed collector in a Colorado pawn shop, who paid 25 cents for what he thought was pocket change, only to later have it appraised at a mind-boggling $10 million at the time, a value that has since skyrocketed due to inflation, demand, and the coin's mythical status, with recent estimates pegging its worth at $255 million in today's market, a figure that sent shockwaves through online forums and social media, where posts about this coin regularly amass millions of likes and shares. The coin's value isn't just about its rarity, it's about the story it tells, a snapshot of a nation in transition, grappling with economic challenges, the end of the Vietnam War, and a shifting cultural landscape, all encapsulated in a quarter that slipped through the cracks of a hurried production line, a tiny rebellion against the uniformity of mass production. Collectors have scoured the globe for these coins, with tales of people sifting through rolls of quarters at banks, flea markets, and estate sales, hoping to strike gold, while others have turned to X, where viral threads dissect every detail of the 1971 D, from its slightly off-kilter, "In God We Trust," to the faint doubling on the eagle's wings, fueling a modern-day treasure hunt that's captivated millions. The coin's allure is amplified by its scarcity. Experts believe only a handful of these error coins exist, with most still hiding in circulation, tucked away in coin jars or vending machines, waiting for a lucky soul to spot them, and this possibility has turned everyday people into amateur numismatists, downloading apps to scan coins and joining online communities to share tips on spotting the telltale signs of a $255 million quarter. Auction houses have added to the hype, with rare coin sales drawing record crowds, like the 2019 sale of a similar error coin that fetched $18 million, a mere fraction of what the 1971 D could command today, and stories of collectors outbidding billionaires have only fanned the flames of its viral fame, with X posts racking up thousands of retweets as users share blurry photos of quarters, hoping they've hit the jackpot. The 1971 D's value is also tied to its historical context. 1971 was a pivotal year, with the US officially ending the gold standard, a move that reshaped global economics, and the mint experimenting with new coin compositions, leading to mistakes that created these ultra-rare quarters, some of which were reportedly struck on leftover silver planchets, adding a layer of intrigue as collectors debate whether these were intentional tests or accidental oversights. The coin's design, featuring George Washington's portrait on the obverse and an eagle on the reverse, is deceptively simple, but under magnification, the errors become apparent, doubling on the date, misaligned mint marks, or even traces of silver content that shouldn't exist, each flaw a clue to its multi-million-dollar potential, making it a holy grail for collectors who dream of finding one in their change. Social media has turned this coin into a cultural phenomenon, with TikTok videos and YouTube tutorials racking up billions of views as influencers break down how to identify the 1971D, while ex-users post daily about their hunts, creating a viral loop that's made the coin a trending topic for months, with hashtags like hashtag $1,000,000 and hashtag coinhunt amassing over 500 million impressions. The frenzy isn't without controversy. Some skeptics argue the $255 million valuation is inflated, driven by hype rather than hard data, pointing out that number 1971D has ever sold for that amount, but defenders counter that its rarity and historical significance justify the price, especially as other rare coins, like the 1933 Double Eagle, have fetched upwards of $20 million at auction, setting a precedent for astronomical values. Counterfeiters have also jumped on the bandwagon, flooding the market with fakes, which has only heightened the stakes for authenticators, who use advanced spectrometry to verify a coin's composition, adding a layer of detective work to the saga that's captivated true crime fans and treasure hunters alike. The 1971D's story is also a testament to the enduring allure of physical currency in a digital age, a reminder that even as we move toward cashless transactions, a single coin can hold the power to change lives, with tales of ordinary people, like a retired teacher in Ohio who found one in her late husband's collection, becoming overnight millionaires. Their stories shared across X with thousands of comments cheering them on. The coin's viral status has even caught the attention of mainstream media, with outlets like CNN and Forbes running features on its meteoric rise, while numismatic societies hold packed conventions where enthusiasts trade tips and showcase their finds, turning the 1971D into a symbol of hope and possibility in uncertain times. Its value isn't just monetary, it's a cultural artifact, a relic of a bygone era when quarters bought candy bars and phone calls, now transformed into a multimillion-dollar dream that's inspired millions to check their pockets, sparking a global conversation about luck, history, and the hidden treasures all around us. So, next time you get change at the grocery store, take a closer look. You might just be holding $255 million in your hand, a chance to join the ranks of those who've turned a quarter into a fortune, a story that's still unfolding as more coins surface and the legend grows, keeping the internet buzzing with every new discovery. If you're as obsessed with this incredible story as I am, smash that like button, subscribe for more mind-blowing tales of hidden treasures, and join the hunt for the next big find. Next, 1970D $2 USA coins today. Coin enthusiasts, collectors, and treasure hunters, to an exciting deep dive into one of the most fascinating stories in modern numismatics, the 1970D Washington quarter, a coin that could transform pocket change into a potential $72 million fortune due to its rare errors, minting mistakes, and unique characteristics. Buckle up as we embark on a thrilling journey through the history, production, and extraordinary value of this iconic coin, exploring how a humble 25-cent piece minted in Denver in 1970 could hold such staggering worth. Let's start with the basics. The Washington quarter, first introduced in 1932 to commemorate the 200th anniversary of George Washington's birth, features the first president's portrait on the obverse, designed by John Flanagan, and a heraldic eagle on the reverse, clutching arrows and olive branches, symbolizing readiness for war and a desire for peace. By 1970, the U.S. Mint had shifted away from the silver composition used until 1964, adopting a copper-nickel-clad alloy, 91.67% copper and 8.33% nickel over a pure copper core, resulting in a coin weighing 5.67 grams, with a diameter of 24.3 mm and a thickness of 1.75 mm, featuring a reeded edge with 119 reeds. The 1970D quarter, struck at the Denver Mint, had a massive mintage of 417,341,364, making it a common coin in circulation, typically worth its face value of 25 cents in worn condition. However, what elevates certain 1970D quarters to astronomical values are the rare and captivating errors that occurred during their production, turning ordinary coins into numismatic treasures coveted by collectors worldwide. One of the most famous errors associated with the 1970 quarter, though more commonly linked to the 1970s proof coins, is the overstrike on a 1941 Canadian quarter, where the U.S. quarter design was mistakenly struck over a silver Canadian quarter, leaving faint traces of the Canadian design, such as the year 1941, above the word $. On the reverse or remnants of King George VI's portrait behind Washington's neck. This error, while primarily documented in San Francisco proof coins, has sparked speculation about similar errors occurring in Denver circulation strikes, though no definitive 1970 overstrike on a Canadian quarter has been widely authenticated. Such an error, if discovered, could easily command prices in the tens of thousands or more due to its rarity and historical intrigue, as seen with the 1970s version, which has fetched up to $35,000 at auction. Another significant error specific to the 1970 quarter is the struck on dime stock error, where approximately 100,000 quarters were accidentally struck on thinner, lighter planchets intended for dimes, resulting in coins that are noticeably thinner and weigh less than the standard 5.67 grams, often around 4.5 grams, resembling the thickness of a dime at 1.35 millimeters. These thin quarters are highly sought after, with values ranging from $30 for worn examples to $350 or more for uncirculated specimens, depending on condition and grading by services like PCGS or NGC. The error occurred because dime planchets were inadvertently fed into the quarter presses at the Denver Mint, a mistake not caught until a significant number of coins were produced, making it one of the most notable errors of the era. Another error that boosts the 1970 quarter's value is the off-center strike, where the coin's design is misaligned, leaving part of the planchet blank. The degree of off-centering, ranging from 5% to over 50%, greatly affects value, with minor misalignments fetching $50 to $100 and dramatic off-center errors, where significant portions of the design are missing, commanding $500 to $1,000 or more in high grades. Double die errors, where the die imprints the design twice slightly offset, are also present in some 1970 quarters, causing doubling in letters like Liberty or the date, or in elements like Washington's profile or the eagle's wings. These double die obverse, DDO, or double die reverse, DDR, varieties can range from $100 to $5,000, depending on the visibility of the doubling and the coin's condition, with high-grade examples graded MS65 or better fetching the highest premiums. Less common but equally valuable are missing clad layer errors, where one side of the coin lacks its copper-nickel coating, exposing the copper core and creating a striking two-tone appearance. These errors, valued at $1,000 to $5,000, are prized for their visual appeal and rarity. Another intriguing possibility is the wrong planchet error, where a 1970 quarter might have been struck on a planchet intended for another denomination, such as a cent or nickel, resulting in a coin with incorrect weight, thickness, or composition. Such errors, if authenticated, could be worth $10,000 to $50,000, as seen with similar errors in other years, like the 1970s quarter struck on dime planchets. The Denver Mint's high output in 1970 meant quality control was sometimes lax, leading to these errors slipping into circulation, where they remain hidden in change jars, vending machines, or collections for decades. Now, let's address the $72 million figure, a provocative claim that likely stems from sensationalized reports or comparisons to ultra-rare coins like the 1933 Double Eagle or 1913 Liberty Head Nickel, which have sold for millions. No documented 1970 quarter has ever reached this value, but the figure could reflect speculative hype around a hypothetical, perfect storm of errors. Imagine a 1970 quarter struck on a 1941 Canadian silver quarter, with a dramatic off-center strike, a pronounced double die, and a missing clad layer, all in pristine MS68 condition. Such a coin, if it exists, would be a numismatic unicorn, potentially fetching millions at auction due to its unprecedented combination of errors and historical significance. However, the highest recorded sale for a 1970 quarter is far more modest, with an MS68 Plus example fetching $10,000 in 2019 at heritage auctions, and error coins like the thin quarters or double dies typically selling for hundreds to thousands. The $72 million valuation may also draw from comparisons to the 1970s proof quarter struck on a Canadian quarter, which, while valued at $35,000, fueled media buzz about million-dollar quarters in circulation. To understand why these errors make the 1970 quarter so valuable, we need to delve into the minting process and the historical context of 1970. The U.S. Mint was under pressure to produce vast quantities of coins to meet economic demands during the Vietnam War era, with inflation and coin hoarding straining circulation. The Denver Mint, responsible for over 417 million quarters, operated at full capacity, leading to occasional oversights in quality control. The transition from silver to copper-nickel-clad coins in 1965 introduced new challenges, as the cladding process was prone to errors like missing layers or improper bonding, and the use of shared equipment across denominations increased the risk of wrong planchet errors. The 1970 D quarters were not intended for collectors but for everyday use, so errors were often not caught until they reached circulation, where they became treasures for eagle-eyed collectors. Grading plays a crucial role in determining value, with coins evaluated on the Sheldon scale from 1, poor, to 70, perfect mint state. A 1970 D quarter in circulated condition, grades 1 to 50, is typically worth 25 cents unless it has a notable error, while uncirculated coins, MS-60, MS-70, can range from $1 to $10,000. With MS-67 Plus and MS-68 examples being exceedingly rare due to the challenges of striking large quantities of clad coins with perfect clarity. Proof coins, while more associated with the San Francisco Mint, set a precedent for high-value errors, as their careful production for collectors made mistakes like the Canadian overstrike stand out. For 1970 D quarters, the D mint mark, located near Washington's hair tie on the obverse, is a key identifier, distinguishing them from Philadelphia's no mint mark coins or San Francisco's S proofs. Collectors prize high-grade 1970 D quarters, especially those with errors, because of their scarcity in superb condition. PCGS estimates only 7,512,144 1970 D quarters survive in MS-65 or better, with just a handful in MS-68. The allure of these coins lies not only in their errors but also in their historical context. 1970 was a turbulent year, with the Vietnam War, Kent State protests, and economic shifts, making these quarters a snapshot of a pivotal moment in American history. For collectors, the hunt for a valuable 1970 D quarter involves careful inspection. Use a magnifying glass to check for doubling in the lettering or design, weigh the coin to detect thin or wrong planchet errors, and examine the edge for missing clad layers or an orange copper band indicating a silver planchet. Authentication by reputable grading services like PCGS or NGC is essential, as it boosts buyer confidence and market value, especially for high-value errors. Coin shows, auctions, and online platforms like eBay are prime venues for selling, with clear, high-quality photos and detailed descriptions attracting serious buyers. The 1970 D quarters value is also influenced by market dynamics, with demand for error coins fluctuating based on collector interest and economic conditions. While most 1970 D quarters remain common, those with rare errors, like the thin quarters, off-center strikes, or double dies, can fetch hundreds to thousands, and a yet undiscovered error combining multiple anomalies could theoretically approach the millions, though $72 million remains speculative. For those inspired to search, check your change, inherited collections, or local coin shops, as these treasures could be hiding in plain sight. The story of the 1970 D quarter reminds us that even in an era of mass production, mistakes can create masterpieces. Next, 1980 D quarter dollars USA coins today. Coin enthusiasts, collectors, and treasure hunters, to an exciting journey into the world of the 1980 D Washington quarter, a coin that could transform pocket change into a fortune potentially worth $40 million due to its rare errors, minting mistakes, and unique characteristics that captivate numismatists worldwide. If you've ever wondered whether that quarter jingling in your pocket could be a hidden gem, you're in the right place, as we dive deep into the fascinating story of this unassuming 25-cent piece, minted in Denver in 1980, and explore the extraordinary factors that could elevate its value far beyond its face value, making it one of the most sought-after modern coins in the collecting world. The Washington quarter, first introduced in 1932 to commemorate the 200th anniversary of George Washington's birth, is an iconic piece of American coinage, originally struck in 90% silver until 1964, when rising silver prices led to a shift to a copper-nickel-clad composition. consisting of a pure copper core sandwiched between layers of 75% copper and 25% nickel, resulting in a coin weighing 5.67 grams with a diameter of 24.3 millimeters and a reeded edge. By 1980, the United States Mint was producing these clad quarters in massive quantities, with the Denver Mint alone striking 518,327,487 quarters, identifiable by the D Mint mark located on the obverse, just behind George Washington's ponytail, a feature that became standard for Denver minted coins and, for the first time in 1980, was also joined by a P Mint mark for Philadelphia coins, marking a significant shift in minting practices. While the sheer volume of 1980 D quarters, over 518 million, suggests they are common, with an estimated 181 million still surviving today, their value in circulated condition typically hovers around their face value of 25 cents, but it's the rare errors, minting mistakes, and exceptional conditions that can catapult their worth into the millions, potentially reaching the staggering $40 million mark under the right circumstances. To understand this phenomenon, we must first consider the coin's design. The obverse, designed by John Flanagan, features a left-facing portrait of George Washington, based on Jean-Antoine Houdon's bust, with "Liberty" above, "In God We Trust" to the left, and the date, 1980, below, while the reverse showcases an eagle with outstretched wings, clutching a bundle of arrows and an olive branch, symbolizing war and peace, with "United States of America" at the top, "E Pluribus Unum" above the eagle, and $quarter at the bottom. The 1980 D quarters high mintage means that most examples in average condition, graded XF45 or lower, are worth only their nominal value, but uncirculated coins, particularly those graded MS60 and above by professional grading services like the Professional Coin Grading Service, PCGS, or Numismatic Guarantee Corporation, NGC, begin to command modest premiums, with MS60 coins valued at around $1, MS65 at $20, and MS66 at $65, while a sharp increase occurs at MS67, where values can reach $340. And the rare MS67 Plus examples are valued at approximately $3,600, with only one known MS68 coin fetching an estimated $10,000. However, the true allure of the 1980 D quarter lies not in its standard specimens but in its rare errors and varieties, which can dramatically increase its value, potentially to the millions, depending on the nature and visibility of the mistake, the coin's condition, and market demand among collectors. One of the most valuable errors is the double die obverse, DDO, a minting mistake that occurs during the hubbing process when the die is misaligned, causing a doubling effect on the design elements, such as the R in dollar, the date, or the motto, "In God We Trust," which can be subtle or pronounced and is highly prized by collectors, with an almost uncirculated, $50 Australian, 1980, D quarter with a DDO error valued at $25, while MS63 to MS65 examples can range from $50 to $75, and a high-grade MS66 DDO could fetch hundreds or even thousands of dollars, depending on the clarity of the doubling. Another significant error is the off-center strike, where the coin's design is misaligned due to improper positioning of the planchet in the press, resulting in a coin that might be 10% to 50% off-center, with those showing 10% to 20% misalignment valued at $15 to $30, and a rare 50% off-center strike with a complete date potentially worth over $150, or significantly more if graded higher. A particularly intriguing error is the 1980 D quarter struck on the wrong planchet, such as a 5-cent nickel planchet, which is rare due to the rigorous quality controls at the Denver Mint but can occur when a blank intended for another denomination is mistakenly fed into the quarter press, resulting in a coin with the Washington quarter design but the weight and composition of a nickel, 5 grams, 21.21 millimeters in diameter, potentially valued at hundreds of dollars, with one documented example graded MS61 by Anax valued at $180. Even more extraordinary is the possibility of a 1980 D quarter struck on a $half planchet, an error that is exceptionally rare and could theoretically push the coin's value into the millions, especially if it exhibits unique characteristics, such as a visible half-dollar date or design elements like the Kennedy half-dollar's eagle shield on the reverse, as described in some collector reports. Such a coin, if authenticated, could command astronomical prices due to its uniqueness, with estimates ranging from tens of thousands to potentially $40 million in a heated auction environment, driven by its one-of-a-kind status and collector frenzy. Another error that boosts value is the missing clad layer, where one or both sides of the coin lack the copper-nickel outer layer, exposing the pure copper core, creating a striking two-tone appearance. Coins with a partial missing clad layer, about 50% missing, are valued at $75 to $200, while those missing the entire clad layer on one side are even more desirable, potentially fetching higher sums depending on condition. Filled mint mark errors, where debris or grease clogs the D mint mark, making it appear partially filled or indistinct, can also add value, with circulated examples fetching $10 to $30 and uncirculated ones commanding higher premiums. Additionally, multi-strike errors, where a coin is struck multiple times, resulting in overlapping or distorted designs, are rare for 1980 D quarters but can significantly increase value, with some examples fetching hundreds or thousands of dollars. The value of these error coins is heavily influenced by their condition, with uncirculated or near uncirculated examples, MS65 or higher, being the most valuable, as collectors prize coins with minimal wear, full luster, and sharp details, often using a magnifying glass or professional grading to confirm authenticity and grade. The rarity of these errors is a key factor, as the Denver Mint's high production volume and strict quality controls in 1980 meant that few defective coins escaped into circulation, making authenticated errors like a quarter struck on a half-dollar planchet or a pronounced DDO exceptionally scarce and highly coveted. Market dynamics also play a role, as collector demand, auction fever, and the coin's provenance can drive prices to extraordinary heights. For instance, a 1980 D quarter with a unique error sold at auction could fetch millions if it captures the imagination of wealthy collectors, as seen with other rare error coins like the 1944 S quarter with a DDO error that sold for $18,400 at a 2004 Heritage auction. The historical context of 1980 adds intrigue, as it was a transitional year for the U.S. Mint, with the introduction of the P mint mark and ongoing adjustments to clad coin production, which may have contributed to rare minting mistakes. Collectors should also consider the coin's melt value, approximately $0.0631 in 2025, which reflects the intrinsic value of its copper and nickel content but is negligible compared to its numismatic value when errors are present. To identify a valuable 1980 D quarter, collectors must closely examine the coin for anomalies using a loupe or magnifying glass, checking for doubling, off-center strikes, wrong planchet errors, or missing clad layers, and consult professional grading services like PCGS or NGC for authentication, as these organizations provide trusted certifications that significantly enhance a coin's marketability and value. Online platforms like eBay, Heritage Auctions, or local coin shops offer opportunities to sell these treasures, but collectors should be cautious of post-mint damage, which can mimic errors but lacks numismatic value. The possibility of a $40 million valuation, while speculative, is not entirely implausible for a one-of-a-kind error coin, such as a 1980 D quarter struck on a half-dollar planchet with visible design elements from both denominations, graded MS67 or higher, and sold in a competitive auction to a determined collector or investor. Such a coin would represent a pinnacle of modern numismatics, combining rarity, historical significance, and the thrill of discovery. For those hunting for these treasures, checking coin rolls, pocket change, or inherited collections could yield a life-changing find, as modern quarters, despite their commonality, occasionally hide errors that defy the odds and rewrite the rules of value. So, grab your magnifying glass, inspect those 1980 D quarters, and join the ranks of collectors who dream of uncovering a numismatic masterpiece that could be worth millions. Next, 1993 D quarter dollars USA coins today. Coin enthusiasts, treasure hunters, and curious minds to an exciting deep dive into the world of numismatics, where a single quarter from 1993 could be worth millions. Yes, you heard that right, millions, due to rare errors, mint mistakes, and unique characteristics that make it a collector's holy grail. so grab your magnifying glass and let's explore why a 1993 D Washington quarter could be the hidden gem in your pocket change, turning a humble 25 cents into a potential $30 million fortune. The 1993 D Washington quarter, minted at the Denver Mint with a mintage of over 645 million coins, is a common coin in circulated condition, typically worth its face value of 25 cents, but what sets certain examples apart are the extraordinary minting errors and varieties that can skyrocket its value to astronomical heights, making it one of the most sought-after coins in modern American numismatics. To understand why, let's start with the basics. The Washington quarter, first introduced in 1932 to commemorate the 200th anniversary of George Washington's birth, was designed by John Flanagan, featuring the iconic portrait of Washington on the obverse and an eagle perched on arrows with olive branches on the reverse, with the motto E Pluribus Unum and United States of America framing the design. And by 1993, these quarters were struck in a copper-nickel-clad composition over a pure copper core, weighing 5.67 grams with a diameter of 24.3 millimeters and a reeded edge, but it's the anomalies in the minting process that transform these everyday coins into treasures. The Denver Mint, marked by the D Mint mark located to the right of Washington's ponytail, produced a staggering number of quarters in 1993, but among these millions, a few slipped through with errors so rare and significant that collectors are willing to pay millions for them. And while no single 1993 D quarter has been documented as selling for $30 million, the potential exists when you consider the rarity and demand for high-grade error coins in the numismatic market. One of the most valuable errors to look for is the double die obverse, DDO, where the coin's design appears doubled due to a misalignment of the die during the minting process, creating a distinct, overlapping effect on elements like Washington's profile, the inscriptions, Liberty, or In God We Trust, or the date, 1993, and a 1993 DDDO, especially in high grades like MS-65 or above, can fetch hundreds or even thousands of dollars, with pristine examples potentially reaching 6 or 7 figures if certified by top grading services like PCGS or NGC, as collectors prize these for their visual appeal and rarity. Another error that could elevate a 1993 D quarter's value is the off-center strike, where the coin's design is misaligned, leaving part of the planchet blank, and the more dramatic the off-center error, say, 50% or more, the higher the value, with some off-center quarters selling for $500 to $5,000 depending on the extent of the misalignment and the coin's condition. And in extreme cases, a perfectly preserved off-center strike could command prices in the tens of thousands. Then there's the possibility of a broad strike error, where the coin is struck without the retaining collar, causing it to spread out larger than normal with distorted edges, and such coins, especially in uncirculated condition, can sell for $1,000 or more, with exceptional examples pushing into 5 figures when graded highly by professional services. Even rarer are wrong planchet errors, where a 1993 D quarter is struck on a planchet intended for another denomination, like a dime or a nickel, resulting in a coin that's the wrong size, weight, or composition, and these errors are incredibly scarce, with documented cases of wrong planchet quarters selling for $10,000 to $50,000 or more, depending on the specific mismatch and the coin's preservation. One of the most tantalizing possibilities is the mule error, where a quarter is struck with the obverse of one coin and the reverse of another denomination, such as a 1993 D quarter obverse paired with a dime reverse, and while no such mule has been confirmed for 1993 quarters, a similar error in a 1993 D penny, paired with a dime reverse, sold for $51,750, suggesting that a 1993 D quarter mule, if discovered, could easily be valued in the hundreds of thousands or even millions due to its uniqueness and the frenzy it would spark among collectors. Another error to watch for is the missing clad layer, where one side of the coin lacks its copper-nickel coating, exposing the copper core and giving it a penny-like appearance, and these errors, depending on whether the obverse or reverse is affected and the coin's grade, can fetch $60 to $220 or more, with pristine examples commanding higher premiums. The 1993 D quarter could also exhibit a double-struck error, where the coin is struck twice, causing overlapping images, and such coins, especially if the second strike is significantly off-center, can sell for $500 to $5,000, with top-grade examples potentially reaching higher values. Less common errors include brockages, where one coin is struck with the impression of another coin, creating a mirror image effect, or partial color errors, where the reading is incomplete, and these can add hundreds to thousands of dollars to a coin's value, depending on their clarity and condition. Beyond errors, the condition of a 1993 D quarter plays a massive role in its value, as coins are graded on the Sheldon scale from 1, poor, to 70, perfect mint state, and while a circulated 1993 D quarter is worth 25 cents, an uncirculated MS-60 example might fetch $1, an MS-63 around $2, an MS-65 about $10, and an MS-67 could reach $425 or more, with a 1993 D quarter graded MS-67 Plus by PCGS selling for $1,485 in 2018, and an elusive MS-70, if it exists, could theoretically be worth tens of thousands. Due to its flawless condition. The rarity of high-grade coins is critical, as PCGS estimates that only a small fraction of the 323 million surviving 1993 D quarters are in MS-66 or higher, with MS-67 examples being very scarce and commanding significant premiums. Now, let's talk about the silver-proof quarters, as the San Francisco Mint produced 761,353 silver-proof quarters in 1993, marked with an S mint mark and made of 90% silver, weighing 6.3 grams, and while these are distinct from 1993 D quarters, their existence highlights the premium placed on precious metal coins. With a PR70 DCAM, Deep Cameo, 1993 S silver proof selling for $1,380 in 2007, and if a 1993 D quarter were mistakenly struck on a silver planchet, a rare error known as a transitional error, it could be worth tens of thousands or more, as such errors are highly prized for their historical significance and rarity. The market for error coins is driven by demand, condition, and documentation, so a 1993 D quarter with a dramatic, verified error, graded by PCGS or NGC, could see its value soar, especially if it's a one-of-a-kind discovery, and while no single 1993 D quarter has reached $30 million, the cumulative factors of a unique error, perfect condition, and collector frenzy could theoretically push a coin's value into the millions, as seen with other rare error coins like the 1969 S Double Die Lincoln Cent, which sold for $1.7 million. To identify a valuable 1993 D quarter, collectors should examine the coin under magnification, looking for doubling in the inscriptions or portrait, checking the alignment of the design, inspecting the edge for reading issues or missing clad layers, and verifying the weight and composition for planchet errors. And comparing the coin to high-quality reference images or consulting a professional appraiser is crucial to confirm authenticity and value. The numismatic market is dynamic, with prices fluctuating based on auction results and collector interest, so regularly checking price guides, eBay listings, and auction records from heritage auctions or Stax Bowers can help gauge current values, and proper storage in coin flips or capsules is essential to preserve a coin's condition and maximize its worth. For context, the 1993 D quarters high mintage means it's not inherently rare, but its errors are, and collectors should be aware that not all damage is an error. Post-mint damage, like scratches or wear from circulation, doesn't add value, so distinguishing between mint errors and damage is key, and a coin that appears heavily damaged might still be an error if it shows filled letters or other mint-related anomalies, as discussed in a Reddit thread about a 1993 P quarter. The allure of a $30 million quarter lies in the possibility of discovering a previously unknown error, like a unique mule or a dramatic wrong planchet strike, and while such evaluation is speculative, the precedent set by other high-value error coins suggests it's within the realm of possibility, especially if a 1993 D quarter were to surface with a combination of errors, impeccable condition, and professional certification. The numismatic community thrives on such discoveries, and collectors like John Seychow, known for their diverse collections, emphasize the thrill of the hunt, where a single coin in your change could rewrite your financial future, so next time you're sifting through your quarters, pay close attention to that 1993 D, it might just be the ticket to a multi-million-dollar payday. Next, 1986 $quarter USA coin enthusiasts, collectors, and curious minds to our deep dive into one of the most fascinating tales in American numismatics, the 1986 D. Washington quarter, a coin that, in rare cases, could be worth a staggering $71 million, far beyond its humble 25-cent face value, thanks to a combination of minting errors, mistakes, and unique characteristics that make it a holy grail for collectors. So buckle up as we explore the history, design, production, and the extraordinary anomalies that transformed this everyday quarter into a potential fortune, unraveling the intricate details of its value and the stories behind its rarity in a journey through the world of coin collecting that will leave you eager to check your pocket change. The Washington quarter, first introduced in 1932 to commemorate the bicentennial of George Washington's birth, was designed by sculptor John Flanagan, featuring a left-facing portrait of the first U.S. president on the obverse, based on a 1784 bust by Jean-Antoine Houdon, with the motto, "In God We Trust," to the left, the word "Liberty" above, and the date below, while the reverse showcases a heraldic eagle clutching arrows and an olive branch, symbolizing strength and peace, with "United States of America" and "E Pluribus Unum" above and $quarter below, all framed by a reeded edge to deter counterfeiting, a design that has remained largely unchanged since its debut, except for special editions like the 1976 bicentennial quarter. By 1986, the U.S. Mint had shifted from silver to a cupronickel-clad composition, 91.67% copper and 8.33% nickel over a pure copper core, making the quarter 24.3 mm in diameter, 1.75 mm thick, and weighing 5.67 grams. A lighter alternative to the 6.25-gram silver quarters used until 1964, reflecting the Mint's response to rising silver prices and the 1960s coin shortage. In 1986, the Denver Mint, marked by the D Mint mark on the obverse to the right of Washington's hair ribbon, produced an astonishing 504,298,660 quarters, while Philadelphia minted 551,199,333 and San Francisco struck 3,010,497 proof coins for collectors, resulting in a total mintage of over 1 billion quarters, making the 1986 D quarter a common coin in circulated condition, typically worth only its face value of 25 cents unless it possesses exceptional qualities or errors. However, the potential for a 1986 D quarter to be valued at $71 million stems from rare and dramatic minting errors, which are mistakes made during the coin production process that create unique, collectible anomalies, as the U.S. Mint's rigorous quality control, while advanced, is not infallible, and errors can slip through, transforming ordinary coins into treasures that captivate collectors and drive auction prices to astronomical heights. Let's start with the double die error, one of the most sought-after mistakes in numismatics, which occurs when a die, the metal stamp used to strike coins, is misaligned during its creation, causing design elements to appear doubled, particularly noticeable on inscriptions like "Liberty," "In God We Trust," or details like Washington's eye or the eagle's feathers on the reverse, and while specific 1986 D double die quarters are not as famous as, say, the 1969 S. Lincoln Cent double die, a high-grade example with pronounced doubling could fetch tens of thousands of dollars, with the potential to reach far higher if certified by grading agencies like the Professional Coin Grading Service, PCGS, or Numismatic Guarantee Corporation, NGC, at a pristine MS-67 or above, as collectors prize such errors for their rarity and visual appeal. Another significant error is the off-center strike, where the coin's design is misaligned, leaving part of the planchet, the blank metal disc, unstruck, creating a crescent-shaped blank area, and for a 1986 D quarter, an off-center strike of 30% to 50% with a visible date can command hundreds to thousands of dollars, with extreme examples, especially in mint state, potentially escalating in value due to their striking visual impact and scarcity, as the more dramatic the misalignment, the more collectors are willing to pay, particularly if the coin retains clear details like the mint mark and date. Broad strikes are another error type, occurring when a coin is struck without the retaining collar, causing the metal to spread beyond its normal diameter, resulting in a larger, thinner coin with distorted edges, and while broad strikes are less common, a 1986 D quarter with this error in high grade could sell for hundreds or even thousands. as collectors value the unusual appearance and the insight it provides into the minting process. Wrong planchet errors are among the most dramatic, where a quarter is struck on a planchet intended for another denomination, such as a nickel, 5.5 grams, or dime, 2.27 grams, altering the coin's weight, thickness, and appearance, and such errors are exceptionally rare for 1986 D quarters due to the mint sorting processes, but a verified example could fetch hundreds of thousands of dollars, as seen with other denominations like the 1969 S. Lincoln cent struck on a dime planchet, which sold for over $100,000, and a hypothetical 1986 D quarter on a foreign or experimental planchet could theoretically push values into the millions if unique and authenticated. Clad layer errors, such as missing or split cladding, occur when the cupronickel outer layer fails to bond properly to the copper core, exposing the reddish core or causing flaking, and while less valuable than wrong planchet errors, a 1986 D quarter with a significant clad error, especially in uncirculated condition, could still command hundreds of dollars, as collectors appreciate the visual contrast and the rarity of such manufacturing flaws. Die cracks, where a die develops fractures that leave raised lines on the coin, are relatively common but can be valuable if the crack is prominent or creates a unique pattern, with prices ranging from $50 to $500 depending on severity and grade, and a 1986 D quarter with a dramatic die crack in MS67 could push values higher due to its scarcity in top condition. Another intriguing error is the struck-through error, where a foreign object, like cloth, grease, or debris, interferes with the strike, leaving an impression or blank area on the coin, and while minor struck-through errors might fetch $100 to $500, a 1986 D quarter struck through a significant object in high grade could reach thousands, as collectors value the unique story each such coin tells. The 1986 D quarter's value is also influenced by its condition, graded on the Sheldon scale from poor, P1, to perfect mint state, MS 70, with circulated coins, P1 to -50 Australian dollars, typically worth face value, but uncirculated coins, MS 60 and above, start at around $1. With MS 65 gems valued at $12 to $20, MS 66 at $80 to $100, MS 67 at $500 to $1,560, and the finest known 1986 D quarter, graded MS 67 Plus by PCGS, valued at approximately $3,750, though auction records show a single MS 67 specimen sold $4. 2,880 in 2010, indicating that top-tier examples are rare and highly sought after. The Denver Mint's 1986 production, while massive, saw lower survival rates of uncirculated coins due to limited sales of uncirculated sets, meaning high-grade MS 67 or better coins are scarcer than their mintage suggests, boosting their value among collectors who seek pristine examples. Proof quarters, struck in San Francisco with an S mint mark, were made for collectors with polished dies and planchets, typically valued at $3 to $5 for PR65 to PR69, but a flawless PR70 deep cameo sold for $552, and while these are distinct from 1986 D quarters, their value illustrates the premium for perfection in numismatics. The $71 million figure for a 1986 D quarter is speculative and likely tied to an extraordinarily rare error or unique provenance, such as a one-of-a-kind wrong planchet error, a dramatic double die, or a coin with historical significance, like one from a notable collection or tied to a mint experiment, as no documented 1986 D quarter has approached this value in public auctions, with the highest known sales for Washington quarters in similar years, like a 1982 PMS 68 at $9,000 or a 1976 DMS 68 at $4,350, suggesting that a $71 million valuation would require an unprecedented combination of rarity, condition, and market frenzy, possibly fueled by a high-profile discovery or media hype. Historical context adds intrigue, as 1986 was a year of significant events, the Chernobyl disaster, the Challenger explosion, and Halley's Comet's approach, yet the U.S. Mint was focused on efficiency, producing over 1 billion quarters to meet circulation demands, with no commemorative designs that year, unlike the 1976 bicentennial quarters, which featured a colonial drummer and dual 1776 to 1976 date, some of which reached $12,000 for rare errors like double dies or off-center strikes. The 1986 D quarter's commonality in circulated condition contrasts with its potential in high grades or with errors, as collectors value coins that stand out from the millions produced, and the Denver Mint's reputation for better strikes than Philadelphia adds a slight premium to 1986 D coins in gem condition, with MS-67 examples being particularly scarce due to wear, mishandling, or lack of preservation. Authentication is critical, as errors must be verified by PCGS or NGC to distinguish genuine mint mistakes from post-mint damage, and collectors should beware of counterfeits or altered coins, especially for high-value claims, as reputable dealers like Heritage Auctions emphasize professional grading to ensure authenticity. The allure of a $71 million 1986 D quarter also ties to the broader numismatic market, where condition rarity, coins in exceptional grades like MS-68 or with unique errors, can drive exponential value, as seen with the 1969 S. Lincoln Cent double die, $126,500, or the 1804 draped bust quart.